PeterValleyFBAMastery.com here. You guys, I just paid $100 for 1,500 CDs to resell on Amazon. I'm going to tell you the entire story. There's some biblical level rain involved. I'm going to teach you the amateur negotiation tactic that you could copy and use anywhere you want. I'm going to show you some before and after footage. I'm going to tell you how much I made and the top 5 lessons I learned. I'm going to pack all this into a few minutes. Let's get into it. All right, so here's the story. Church rummage sale outdoors. Pull up. It is pandemonium. You can't park within a half mile of this place. It is being held in a parking lot the size of a football field. This rummage sale is absolutely massive. I have to park on a side street that leads to a street that leads to a street because everything's just packed. There's nowhere to park. Walk up. Almost as soon as I step foot in the parking lot, massive, massive rummage sale, it starts to rain. And it's not just rain. It is like biblical level apocalyptic rain. And everything is outdoors and there's not a single tent or anything covering anything. One of the first things I see is a man in the electronics section just standing there, a volunteer just looking completely defeated as all these electronics are just completely obliterated with rain. People are running for their lives, actual pandemonium. And just to be clear, this is the biggest outdoor rummage sale I've ever been to. Every section, whether it's electronics, whether it's, home goods, whatever, it's essentially the size of its own store. There will be dozens of tables, and everything is just kind of spread out over this massive football field-sized parking lot. So the rain's coming down. People are losing their minds, running for their lives. I immediately am like, what's happening to the books right now? Did they figure out a way to cover or otherwise salvage the books? I run up, I get to the books, it's a total loss. Thousands of books obliterated. There's no time to mourn. I start doing the math. All right, what is the item I can resell that is going to be least impacted by rain? I immediately decided CDs and DVDs. DVD restrictions are a little hit or miss, so I'm like, I'm going to find the CDs. Find the CDs. By the grace of whatever God you believe in, the volunteers have been able to find in the CD section, which is its own little store. I mean, there's thousands. They've been able to find tarps, and they cover the CDs with tarps. Awesome. Things are looking good. But the goofy part is to scan the CDs, you have to get like under a tarp. So you have to like literally, it's like scanning inside of a cave. I had to like pull the tarp over my head and get under there and to get scan. Okay, so I start doing that. Not 3 minutes goes by, and I'm seeing there's value there, so I'm excited. CDs are $1 each. 3 minutes goes by. The volunteers, and there are hundreds of volunteers to be clear. There's people with golf carts. This is a big production. Something comes through in their walkie-talkie, and all the volunteers almost in unison start screaming, everything is half off. Everything's half off. Obviously, the rain's coming down. Everything's getting destroyed. They're just trying to liquidate their wares as quickly as possible. So, all right, now CDs are 50 cents. Scanning, 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 scanning. Not even 3 or 4 minutes later, some other call comes over the walkie-talkie. Volunteers start screaming, free. Everything is free. And now, you thought it was pandemonium before. Now it's really pandemonium. Because you have whatever few people are left at this massive rummage sale just start losing their minds like a Mad Max scenario. Everyone's just grabbing what they can, stuffing it in bags, including the CDs. Now, you might think a volunteer at a rummage sale yelling free CDs would be the best possible scenario, but that's actually the worst possible scenario for me. There's no barrier to entry. There's no friction, and people can just start grabbing boxes of CDs and running off. So I have to make a move. So what I decided to do is I walk up to the nearest volunteer and I say, listen, I will give you $100 for all these CDs right now. She responds, rightfully so, sir, the CDs are free. And I said, let me give you $100. And I give her a knowing look that I thought was conspiratorial. I thought what I was hinting at was, I'm going to give you $100 and you're going to help me secure all these CDs. She's not getting the hint. She says, sir, everything's free. You can take whatever you want. And I lean over. I say, listen, I want to give you $100. In exchange, I hope you would help me secure these. She can interpret that however she wants. She immediately gets it. She takes the cash out of my hand. She walks back over the tables. People just grab and shove them in bags. She's like, these CDs are spoken for. They've been paid for. Basically, everyone has to leave. This is awesome. This is exactly what I paid for. It might seem insane to offer $100 for something that's free, but this is what I was paying for. I was paying for essentially a team of volunteers to protect these CDs from the vultures that were devouring them as we spoke. So she starts running around, everyone please leave, these CDs are spoken for. There's a guy that gets testy, he's like, I was here first, and she shoos him off. This is exactly what I paid for. So next, what this $100 also bought me was she starts to corral multiple other volunteers saying, hey, let's help this gentleman secure his CDs. So I have this team of volunteers that I only paid $100 for. They just start grabbing boxes and taking them into the volunteers only area, securing them, putting them under tarps. I have this like team of people working on my behalf, which is exactly what I wanted. So everything's secured. I have to go get there's no cars allowed in the parking lot. I turned to the volunteer. I'm like, what do you think I should do here? She's like, I got an answer for you. Gets on her walkie-talkie. In minutes, I have a security guard pulling up in a golf cart, my own personal concierge, who's helping me load the CDs onto the golf cart and take me to my car. This is what $100 will get you. There's times when it pays to be frugal, times when it doesn't. So make a couple trips, get all my CDs to my car, and that's when the fun begins. Let me take you into some footage I shot of the before and after. Watch this. Okay guys, let me show you what's going on. So for better or for worse, chaos has ensued at the Valley family household. So I purchased 1,000 CDs from Flea Market. All I know about these, and I purchased them virtually sight unseen, all I know is that there was at least minimum of 1,000. So I'm going through these right now. I've spent this is probably, what you see here is probably 4 hours worth of work. So what I've done is I've categorized, these are those CDs I've scanned. My threshold right now is a minimum of $7 FBA value. I'm not sure why that's not to show there. Okay, so there we go. So minimum of $7 FBA value. So you can see Scott Lee is being kind to me with, I would say probably 2/3 of these. So what you see here, maybe actually that's probably being generous. It's probably more like half, or maybe even a little less. So what you see here is this is a reject pile. These two towers right here, and then all of these are the CDs that do not meet the $7 FBA threshold. Okay, so there's that, and there's a rough, very rough categorization formula at work here. These are the CDs that have cases but no CDs inside. I'm hoping to reunite them with their respective CDs. That's also this. These back here are CDs with no cases, as are all these. These are broken cases I need to replace, but these are CDs that actually have value. So lots going on here. I'm categorizing these generally by genre, and the logic being, it's kind of confusing, but I started out not scanning them and I was just checking the actual condition of the CD, and so my thought is that a lot of these are end up back in the reject bin, and when I do that, having them categorized allows me to group them and sell them on eBay, which is a good tactic to extract value out of CDs, books, whatever, that don't have Amazon value that may have eBay value when you bundle them together. Okay, so I've got like classical, this is Christmas music, I've got, what is this? Oh, 70s. I'm grouping them also by decade. These are just artists I've heard of, artists I haven't heard of. There's jazz back here. Some interesting, kind of valuable stuff. One of the things that was kind of cool about this is I bought these CDs in such haste that I didn't obviously have time to look at them really at all. And so lots of weird stuff ended up accompanying the CDs I didn't anticipate. Some things that weren't CDs. For example, these over here. So there's a couple cassette tapes, which in and of themselves wouldn't be a big deal. But just a little pro tip here. If you see a cassette tape that is Type 2, see where it says XL2? A Type 2 cassette, on its own, probably not worth money, but I always save these because Type 2, when you kind of get them into groups of like 5 or more, can have decent enough value. Now this, on the other hand, is exceptionally, I don't want to say rare, but pretty uncommon. When you see a Type 4, you see that? And also, they'll also say metal. These have value on their own. You can sell a single blank Type 4 cassette for, I don't really know the current value. It's been a while since I've done it, but there's definitely value there. And that would probably be an eBay item. Another thing that was kind of cool, some box sets, like this is randomly a $50 CD box set, vinyl record, but also this Beatles box set, which I thought was CDs, and I think the people that I bought them from thought they were CDs as well because they threw them in. And when I actually open this up, it's actually a vinyl set, and it's selling for $250. And actually, I just looked it up on Discogs. I didn't even look it up on Amazon itself. So the Amazon value could be higher or lower depending. But the vinyl checks out. Everything's included. It's got like a cool book. And I think it's got 2 7-inches in here as well. Yeah, there's 2 7-inch records and a book. Everything's included. It's immaculate. There's a little bit of damage here. You can see the corner. It's a little bit torn. So I'll have to mention that. But anyway, so I paid $100 for everything you see here. And this is $250. That's going to pay for everything. And then again, you got 50 random stuff. These are all the CDs, again, I haven't gone through yet. So lots going on here. It's just a lot of fun. All right, here we are at the site of our previous scene that used to be occupied by a couple thousand CDs, if you recall. Now we just have one lonely block of tofu. So here's the aftermath. Let me show you what I have done. Okay, so what you're looking at here is 4 shipments going to Amazon. These are the 4, my criteria was anything with an FBA value of $7 and up gets shipped to Amazon with a sales rank of better than 400,000. So that's what you're looking at here. It's approximately 620 CDs. So I'll just kind of dig in, just show you what we got here. So again, each one of these is 200, and then we have the leftovers here on the far left, which is like 30. So I don't know what happens when you make a shipment of greater than 200 items. I know that Amazon has a cutoff of 200. I don't know. I never tested what happens if you exceed that limit. So I just broke it into 3 shipments myself. 620-ish CDs with an FBA value of $7 and up. That is what it came to, which raises the question, what happened to the rest? And I have an answer for you. So total number of CDs was about 1,500. I'm doing the math here. About 1,500. So what you're looking at here are the CDs that are going up on eBay. Now I'm using the eBay bundling trick where you take items that have no Amazon value, bundle them together by genre or category, and then you sell them as lots on eBay. So what I did is I created lots for each of the following categories. 1970s music, 80s music, 90s music, 2000 music, soundtracks. Randomly, there's a lot of soundtracks in the mix. What else? Jazz, a jazz lot, and a Christmas music lot, and then the biggest one of all is the classical music lot, which is I think 200 to 300. I haven't counted them yet. 200 to 300 CDs here. That's all. Everything you see here is all classical music. So I'm expecting that to do well. The rest of these I'm just basically doing for experimental purposes. On a dollar per hour basis, I don't think this worked out too generously. I just want to see what would happen. I don't have a lot of experience with bundling CDs, so I just want to see what would happen. So like for example, what is this here? This is the 90s, no, the 2000 CDs. So it's like 65. I don't know. I might get $20. We'll see. I'm just doing this again for the experiment, just to kind of see for future reference how bundling CDs goes. I won't even talk about what's going on over here. These are my records for Discogs. Okay, so that's that. Now let's go to. You guys like my doormat? Let's go to the rejected CDs. So these are all the CDs that I couldn't bundle by category because the category was either unknown or they just weren't niche enough. They didn't really fit neatly in any of those aforementioned categories. So it's just like random. It's like what the heck is that, right? So all these are going to the thrift store. I'm just going to donate these. So approximately 500 CDs here that just literally had no value whatsoever. And again, it's a little bit messy here. Oh, by the way, it's kind of a coincidence you actually witnessed this, but this, I believe, this is a little bit of Amazon selling history here. This is my old PDA, my original PDA. Now, if you're anything like me, when you take some stuff to a thrift store, you start looking around for other stuff to take to the thrift store so you can kind of group it all together into one trip. So this is what we used before smartphones. And you put a barcode scanner in the slot here at the top. And I've gone through several of these in my day, but I just had this one, and I was been trying to list on eBay, and I couldn't get a buyer. I don't know why. I guess I do know why, because it's obsolete. So I'm just donating it to a thrift store. But this thing could tell some stories. And any of you who have been around since 2012 or before probably know what this is. So anyway, anyways, lots of just random stuff. But I'll probably do some totals for you at the end of this video, but that's what we got. Okay, let's skip to the final tally. What were the results of this completely absurd, insane, ridiculous CD haul? So there are about 1,500 CDs when all the smoke cleared, but maybe a little more than that. 1,500 CDs total, rounding down. I paid just under 7 cents per CD, 0.66 cents. Now, the listing criteria that I decided on is I was going to list anything on Amazon, and if it had a sales rank better than 400,000, and this is mostly arbitrary because I don't have a ton of experience in CDs. So I decided, okay, anything better than 400,000 with a minimum FBA sales price of $7. Actually, $6.99 is what I chose. Okay. So there were 626 CDs of the 1,500 that had $7 plus FBA value, which translates roughly to an 85-cent payout. I know it's kind of small, but again, I'm buying in bulk here. I already have them in my possession, so may as well. And that 85 cents adds up. There were 712 that I bundled for eBay. I'll get to the results of that experiment in a second. And let's spoiler alert, it was not very successful. Number 5, about 250, maybe a little more, that I ended up donating to a thrift store that just were uncategorizable, and or I was restricted from selling them, or they were just damaged. Okay, so the 626 CDs is pretty straightforward, right? $7 FBA value, that's pretty straightforward. What about the eBay bundles? I think it was 6 or 7 or 8 different categories of CDs. There were 700 total that I listed on eBay in bundles. So let me show you the results of that. And I'll admit, this is kind of an experiment. I don't have tons of experience bundling CDs on eBay. So one bundle was 90 CDs, anything from the 90s, which isn't exactly a genre. I just decided anything from the 90s I'm going to bundle total of 105 CDs that fit this criteria. They sold for $43, but here's the catch. The way I do my eBay listings always, and I have no idea if the science backs me up here, I always do my eBay listings free shipping, period. Again, I don't know what the science says and what this translates to higher selling prices or less. I don't know. That's just how I do it. So they sold for $43, but I have to pay for the shipping. So what that translated to was 105 CDs for $12 net profit. Now, to be fair to myself, 90s, again, is not exactly a genre, so it's not really defined enough for me to expect a high sales price. But $12 for all the effort it took me to sort through. Again, keep in mind here, let's go back. There were 1,500 total, roughly. You subtract 626, there's basically 900 CDs that I had to sort, and it took me hours. So not worth it for that lot. Lot number 2, 70 CDs and soundtracks. These were separate collections, separate lots, separate eBay auctions, but the same person bought both of them, so I'm lumping them together. So 89 CDs between these two lots, sold for $59 total, after shipping $35 net profit. Not that great, could have been worse. Jazz, I was really hopeful for this one. Jazz lot, there were 90 Jazz CDs. Again, these are all CDs that did not have a $7 minimum FBA listing price, or I was restricted from selling them. Okay, so 90 Jazz CDs sold for $73, a little bit better than the first two or three. $43 net profit after shipping, so not too bad, 50 cents per CD. Okay, next lot also sold to the same buyer, 80s and 2000 CDs. So CDs from the 80s, CDs from the 2000s, total 97, sold for $45, $17 net profit. Classical CDs, I was really hopeful for this one. There were a ton of classical CDs. Remember, this was in a rich neighborhood that was near a retirement community. Tons of classical CDs, 239 total, sold for $98. I actually thought it would do better. $98, $47 net profit. Yes, the shipping was actually $50. This was 63-pound box. Christmas CDs, total fail. There was 64 I listed for a $20 minimum bid, 0 takers. Okay, so what's the total tally here? I bought 1,500 CDs. I paid roughly 7 cents per CD. On Amazon, my expected payout, according to ScanLister, my listing tool, $3,400. There was some kind of outlier items in the collection that kind of brought that item up. eBay, total net profit from my eBay listings, $164. Totally regret it. I regret every second I spent on those eBay listings. Imagine all the time it took me to take photos and create the listings and sorting. Oh my God, going to the post office. Hated every minute of it. Total waste of my time. I'm not even kidding. I spent a minimum 6 hours, possibly 8 hours. Brutal. The work I did during each of those 6 hours, tough, brutal work. If you ever hear me talking about eBay again, ever, assume I've been kidnapped, or it is AI that is reproducing my voice, or I've been hacked or something. I'm done with it. Hours of labor, total 16. I think that's being generous. It might have been a little bit more, which brings the total dollars per hour to $160. If I had cut eBay out of the equation, I would have been making almost as much per hour. So again, let's not do that again. Okay, so what lessons did we learn here buying 1,500 CDs, listing them, and hopefully selling them? Let's get into I think there's 5 lessons here. So lesson number 1, approximately 30% of CDs from a random lot can be listed for $7 or more FBA. Now, you can't really call this random. I did mention it's in a retirement community, and possibly it leans a little bit more heavily towards genres of CDs that you could command higher prices for. But again, I did also listed more than 30% on Amazon. It's 626 for about 1,500 CDs. So I would say in the future, what I learned is if I buy a truly mixed lot of CDs that seems to be at least of medium quality, I could reasonably assume I will be able to list 30% of them for $7 or more FBA. Now, $7 will be beneath the standards of probably most sellers. Remember, $7 is only an 85-cent payout, roughly. I'm willing to relax my standards, obviously, when I buy in bulk. I recommend you do that as well. So in the future, I think I'll stick to that $7 amount if I'm buying in bulk. So $7, if I buy CDs, I'm going to know 30% roughly will be able to be listed for $7 or more on Amazon. Lesson number 2, bundling on eBay is mostly a waste of time. Now, I already went on this rant, but also what I learned here is that I think in the future, I'm not going to bother with eBay bundles with CDs unless they're for 100 CDs or more. It just was such a massive time drain. I'm actually bitter that I spent so much time on those lots. It was mostly an experiment. I knew I wasn't going to make that much money, but I thought it would do better. So I'm not going to do this again unless the lots are very, very large. Lesson number 3, going forward, I would probably pay 10 cents per CD for a large mixed lot. In other words, if I was buying in bulk again, I now have kind of a benchmark based on my experience with this collection that 10 cents you'll probably make money. In other words, if someone said I have 10,000 CDs, what's 10 cents times 10? Whatever that is, I'll pay that amount. Or somebody says I have 500 CDs. Okay, well, I'll pay you, what was that, $50? I'll pay you $50 or something. Yeah, whatever it is. I'm not good at math. So that's what I learned in the future. 10 cents is kind of my threshold. Like, I think I can reasonably expect to make money paying 10 cents per CD. Experts, feel free to weigh in the comments if you feel like that's too high. I think if anything, that's too high. But it might, I guess possibly might be too low. But again, I made an expected profit of $3,400 paying 7 cents per CD. If we can assume the CDs I bought at this church sale are, you know, slightly above average in quality, I think 10 cents is a safe number. Lesson number 4, if you see opportunity, and I already knew this already, but if you see opportunity to buy a collection in bulk, jump on it. Now, I absolutely exploited the desperation of the sale. It was raining. They were trying to get rid of stuff, offer me $100, right? The whole thing. So it was an easy target. I guess offering money for anything that's free is always the easiest possible target there is, right? But if you see an opportunity, and this is kind of the line I like to use is, hey, can I offer you X amount of dollars for everything here if we throw a blanket over the table? Now, throw a blanket over the table, and that could apply to many different settings, but the implication, of course, is can you help me secure this stuff? So anytime you're in an environment where there's an active environment, where there's actually shoppers, people you're competing against, I like to use the line, can you throw a blanket over the table? Just to like indicate I'm not just paying for the stuff, I'm paying for you to help me secure it. Fortunately, the lovely women at this rummage sale got the hint and were my personal concierges for, is that a word? Concierges for the duration of that experience. I was extremely grateful for them. Only cost me $100. Number 5, lesson. Somebody, I didn't even mention this yet, somebody out there is making money paying about 75 cents for average CDs. Here's what I mean. Of the lots that I sold on eBay, 2 of the lots were purchased by the same, or 4 of the lots were purchased by 2 different people. In other words, you had 2 different people each buy 2 different CD collections from me. And one of them, the name was just simply, I think it was like Media Buyers LLC or something. So pretty clear to me this was an online arbitrage move on the part of both of these buyers. And the price they were paying averaged out to be like 50 or 75 cents per CD. So I can assume that they're reselling these CDs somewhere. It's possible they're doing it brick and mortar. They have a record store. I kind of doubt that, but it's possible. What I think is more likely is they're breaking the lots up and selling them individually, probably on eBay, probably not on Amazon, although possibly on Amazon Merchant Fulfilled. I guess that's possible. I don't really know what their scheme is, but they have a scheme. And so there's people out there that are gobbling up large CD collections and somehow flipping them for a profit. And I wish I knew what their business model was, because I think it's kind of interesting. But 100% chance my CDs that I sold for, you know, roughly 50, 75 cents each are being resold for a much higher amount somewhere else. And I wish I knew what the model was. Jump in the comments below if you know. But I thought that was interesting. So I guess a little hint, if you can crack that code, you could just scour Amazon, or sorry, eBay rather, for large CD lots and make a living that way. So anyway, you have a 4-part mission now. Are you ready? Mission number 1, subscribe to my YouTube channel. You must do it. I consulted lawyers. They told me it's actually legally required of you to do so according to various statutes. Mission number 2, get my free book. This is the most insane thing I've ever seen given away for free on any Amazon site ever. FBAmaster.com. There's also a link below this video. It's 396 pages. Every trick, almost, that there is to reselling books and more on Amazon for a profit. 396 pages, called Reselling for Rebels. Get the book right now. Mission number 3, you absolutely, without question, if you're running any kind of Amazon business, you need an Amazon repricing tool. And the good news is I built the best one out there. It's called NeuroPrice. It is the first repricer that has no blind spots whatsoever. No other repricer can say it. It's a Chrome extension, and it starts at $17 a month. It's actually considered cruelty to animals in 80 countries. I checked all the laws to not sign up for NeuroPrice. It's cruel to the animal, being yourself, being me. Probably there's various puppies out there that are also offended if you don't sign up for NeuroPrice, so just do that right now. Mission number 4, take what you learned in this video and go make money with it. I gave you some lessons. Buy in bulk. CDs are an overlooked category. There's still money to be made, etc., etc. Thank you guys. This is Peter Valley signing off. I'll see you in the next video.